What is going on, everybody? John Ramdeen here in our downtown studios. Coming up February 6th at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. UFC Fight Night, Hendricks versus Thompson. Also on the card in light heavyweight action, Misha Cirkunov will be looking to make it 2 in a row as he takes on Alex Nicholson. We're joined on the line by Misha Cirkunov. Misha, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. We had the chance to be in Saskatchewan for your UFC debut. It's something that's been, I know for you, been a long time coming, waiting to get that experience under the belt. You've been working very, very hard. One of the top prospects, and not only in Toronto, but in Canada. How does it feel to finally get that weight kind of lifted off your shoulders, or was it a weight at all?
Of course it is. There's nothing like UFC. I fought for the belt against UFC veterans, and, I had, nerves there, but there's nothing like UFC. If you never fought in UFC, you would not understand, because it's just unique experience, and you have to experience it. And it's just a long journey just to get there, but once you do get there, everything is basically times 10. Everything, whatever you experienced, the competition level, the promotion, just everything is a lot better and a lot more intense, and that's why it's the biggest promotion in the world.
Talk about your journey. This not for everybody to stand inside of a cage against another trained athlete to inflict damage. Why is this something that you've decided to dedicate your life to?
Ever since I was a kid, I was always an athlete, and I was kind of amateur athlete. I was doing judo, wrestling, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and I always wanted to go to Olympics. But as I got older, I realized that there's no money in Olympic sports, and I've seen a lot of Olympians. They look for jobs now, and it's basically you don't make money doing Olympic sports. And I kind of realized that, when I got older, but yeah, I've been cross-training with so many different sports, and I was always around high-level fighters, and I knew one day I wanted to fight, and there's nothing like UFC, so I knew I wanted to fight in UFC. I got many different opportunities and contracts that I could have signed with many different other promotions, but I didn't sign them, and I was waiting patiently for one day to be somewhere where I was dreaming to be.
We know we've heard from many of the top fighters in the world, in order for them to achieve the type of success that they want to achieve in mixed martial arts, that they have to be very, very selfish. Do you look at things this way? And we know that you're a married man. How does that play into day-to-day life for you?
I kind of understand what they mean by selfish. You have to pay more attention to yourself. You have to baby yourself a lot more. You have to give yourself more time on everything. And yes, but at the same time, no. You still can be not selfish. I still train with everybody. I still teach classes. I still do what I normally do. And I'm married, and I don't have any problems. I'm at home, and I'm just enjoying life. I'm not trying to be kind of like, too high of a chin. I'm trying to just enjoy life and enjoy all the experiences that I have.
I think most people, if they scout your history, of course, you have stoppages on your resume by knockout, but I think most people would look at you as a grappler, mixed martial arts fighter. You mentioned you have a jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and judo background. How important is it for you as an athlete? Because we know the game of mixed martial arts, there's a lot of misdirection involved. How important is it for you to keep some of the tools that you've been working on hidden in your back pocket, or do you want to lay the cards on the table right away?
Basically, as the fight goes on, whatever opportunity happens, I will take it. If it's a throw, if it's a takedown, if it's a submission, whatever it is. So, people know that I did judo. They know I wrestled. They know I did all that. So they have to expect that. But at the same time, if you want to stop that, you want to be able to do those sports too. And if you don't do those sports, just knowing that I do them and you think you will be able to stop it, it's going to be a little bit difficult. So I don't know. I think that these days you have to cross-train as many different sports as you possibly can. You can't just stick with your 2-3 sports that you've always been doing. Like me personally, I'm always open-minded. I'm always looking for different techniques and different stuff, whatever it is, some people laugh at Tai Chi, they laugh at Kung Fu, they laugh at all those things, But the reality is, if you're an athlete and you learn those things and you're an athlete, and you can apply them,
When you're, I don't know if you're involved in this process, you get your contract from the UFC, it says Alex Nicholson, you sign on the dotted line. Do you try to come up with a game plan yourself, or do you leave it to your coaches and teammates to try to figure out what the best strategy is to beat the man standing across from you in the cage?
I don't just have a game plan, I don't stick to a game plan. In terms of, if you just have one game plan, what if it doesn't work? Yeah. Then you have to do something else and something else. What I try to do, I try to train in everything, in many different scenarios, and I try to kind of expect anything happen, whatever is a ground game, stand-up, wrestling, clinch, striking, whatever it is, I want to be able for everything. I don't want to just narrow myself in one direction and, okay, you're just going to drill this. Because then next thing you know, what if your opponent pulls out, Like it happened to me in my debut. All of a sudden, my opponent pulls out and I'm fighting a completely different guy that I don't even know how he fights, It was 11 or 10 days notice, and I could barely find any footage of the guy, yet he's, undefeated prospect, really talented, really strong, and all of a sudden, do you think you can create a different game plan in just 10 days and stick with a game plan? No, it's impossible. It's very, very difficult. So my approach, basically, I just try to train in every aspect, and it's a fight, Whatever happens, kind of happens.
Do you try to get yourself into that creative flow state? You just kind of react to things? Obviously, the goal is you want to be first, but do you feel free? We've heard many fighters in the past say the goal is to be free inside of the cage. Do you feel that way?
I 100% agree with that. I believe that you have to have all the tools in all the aspects of the mixed martial arts, and then you're an artist. It's basically like a painter, artist. You have a big canvas, and you have different brushes, you have different colors, you have different techniques, you have pencils, you have so many different tools that you can use to create a beautiful picture, and it's up to you how you want to draw, And the more different techniques and tools you can apply, the better it is, So I look at the exact same approach to mixed martial arts. I try to study as many different things as I possibly can, and I try to apply them in a fight.
Do you have your version of the Mona Lisa? What would be your masterpiece inside of the cage if you could get it done the way you wanted to get it done?
I like to submit people, I don't necessarily like to hurt them, Obviously, if I can knock them out, that's a knockout, and I'm also happy with that. But at the end of the day, I don't really want to hurt people too bad. So if I can catch them in a submission where they just give up without them being hurt, I would always choose that route, But again, whatever happens, I will take the quickest way out too.
The last thing I want to ask you, Misha, is did you learn anything about yourself that you didn't know in your UFC debut?
Yes, I basically realized that everything I do, it's working, and I just need to do 10 times more of that. To basically work a lot more harder. But I realized that everything I've been doing has been working, and I'm on the right track.
Well, Misha, best of luck to you. We'll certainly be watching you. Actually, I'm going to do one more thing here. Now that the heavyweight matchup in the main event is off, this is now on free TV, and I understand that you've been pushed to the main card. Does that add any more pressure to you, knowing more people are going to be tuning into your fight?
Not really. For me, just fighting in Las Vegas in front of this fight capital of the world, fighting in Las Vegas, it was already a huge deal, and I know that everybody's going to watch those fights, and just because I'm in a main card, I will still have exact same views, just because I was already first fight on Fox 1. So a lot of people would tune in for that free fight, right? So now I'm in the main card, and all the same people that would turn in for the free fight not going to be watching the whole free show, right? So I'm just very excited. I want more people to know who I am, and I'm just extremely happy and glad that I'm in this opportunity, and I'm not going to take this opportunity lightly, and I try to use this opportunity as hard as I can.
Misha, best of luck to you on February 7th. Misha Cirkunov looking for his 11th professional victory inside of the Ultimate Fighting Championships cage as he takes on the 6-1 Alex Nicholson.